Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Gemology for Schmucks. My name is Peter Nelson, and I'm here to guide you in everything you need to know about gemstones. Today we're going to be talking about one of the oldest red gems in antiquity, and that's not ruby, that's actually garnet. The word that we use in English, garnet, actually comes from pomegranate. So the Greeks back in the day, I believe it was the Greeks, those classical people, when they were looking at this red stone, they're like, you know what this looks like? You know, it looks like one of those kernels from the delicious fruit. Anyway, a lot of the garnets that you will find all over the world are red. So what most people don't know is that garnet is actually two families of stones. So they're very, very closely related. They're like cousins. You can kind of think of it that way. So their crystal structure is the same, and they're all perfectly symmetrical on a crystalline basis. The chemical composition that makes up each of these cousins is different, but because they are so closely related, they can actually intergrow with each other. So there are three types of garnets in each of the families. You've got the aluminum garnets and you've got the calcium garnets. And they actually kind of cross over at one of these garnets that has both aluminum or aluminum and calcium. And because they are so closely related, they can actually intergrow with each other inside of those families. So instead of just having red garnets, you will also find a lot of other garnets. There are green and purple and orange garnets as well. And some of their characteristics will change depending on which types of garnets are intergrown into this. This is something we call isomorphic replacement, when something is so similar that other elements can switch in and out inside of that same crystal structure, that same chemical composition. This is isomorphic replacement. Science! And some of them can be very plentiful, some of them can be very rare. So learning about the different types of garnets is a good step forward for you. One of my personal favorite types of garnets is the orange one that people call spessartite or sometimes spessartine. It seems nobody can make up their mind on which one is correct. But if you just want to get your foot in the door, the red garnet is a good way to go. Now, two of the cousins in one of the families, I believe it's the aluminium family, which a lot of gemologists call the pyrrolspite, pyrope, almandine, and spessartite, that family. Two of those are oftentimes red, sometimes purple. You have pyrope and almandine. So those are their mineralogical names. But sometimes there are additional names given to them depending on where those stones come from. So these stones that I've got in front of me right here are the red garnets that would have been known to people in antiquity. So the area that we know as Czech, some people call it the Czech Republic. I feel like they keep changing their name. Used to be Czechoslovakia, no longer. They were actually quite famous for Bohemian garnet rings. Very small sizes, but very hot red. And that's what these are. What are the advantages of garnet aside from the fact that it's a nice red color? Garnet is really tough wearing, so if you have it in daily jewelry, you don't have to worry about breaking it. It's also very high luster. If you're checking the refractive index, like we talked about in one of these other videos, you actually may not be able to get a number for this because it's too high. And that means that you're going to get a lot of really bright, sharp luster. So when you have rose cuts like this, with lots of facets over the face of the stone, you get a nice body color of red, and a very bright, flashy luster from each of these facets. Other garnets are more highly prized for their individual body tones. So with spessartite, there's something called mandarin garnet, or some people call it Fanta, named after the soda pop. There's also the incredibly rare green garnets that are sometimes used as a replacement for emerald. But what they found is that the larger and larger sizes of tsavorite garnet are actually so rare that they start becoming more expensive than emeralds. Obviously, it depends on the qualities of each. But in larger carat sizes, tsavorite garnet can be incredibly pricey. But something like these pyrope and almandine garnets typically are quite affordable, and they're great for anybody who wants a crystalline gemstone with a great look without breaking the bank. Another fun fact about garnets, if you're in the pyrrolspite, that's the aluminium garnets, each of these three cousins actually have a very distinctive spectrum, an absorption spectrum. So if you use the handheld spectroscope, they're very quick to identify. The spectrums are very unique, and if you just have a normal handheld gemologist torch, you can just check that out, and within a couple of seconds, you can know that this is a garnet as opposed to something else like maybe spinel or ruby. Garnet and spinel are both singly refractive, but their spectra are going to be very different. So this is a nice stone to trade in. Anyhow, if you'd like to see some more stones individually, then you're welcome to head over here to Nazo Anna's channel, where we have some of the stones that we are offering for sale available for you to see. They'll have prices, they'll have dimensions, and you can look in and see what you would like. If you've got any additional questions or comments, please leave those in the comments section below. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tell all of your friends about it, and until next time, I'll say bye-bye.